We won't leave Jerusalem to the mercy of a state that has no value other than occupation and plunder. We will continue our struggle within the law and democracy with determination.
Independent Islamic Republic.
Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu will be the rival of Sultan Erdogan in the upcoming Turkish elections. He's already said if he wins, he will reset Turkish ties with the West. This guy, funnily dubbed by the Indian news outlet WION as some sort of Mahatma Gandhi figure of Turkey, is actually quite dangerous and can easily complicate the situation in Ukraine and even threaten the world. On May the 14th, presidential elections will be held in Turkey. The Opposition People's Alliance voted unanimously to nominate its candidate, Republican People's Party leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. It's no secret that the upcoming elections will be one of the most difficult tests for Sultan Erdogan. The Turkish economy isn't doing well, and then of course there was crushing earthquakes that claimed the lives of more than 50,000 people. Now, I'm no fan of Erdogan. I see many of our brothers promoting conspiracy theories about some caliphate rising from Turkey. Oh, the Turks are coming. It's all prophesized. When it's really not. They're just spreading propaganda under the garb of religion, and I'm not like that at all. But for the sake of peace, I do hope to see Erdogan get back in power, as he is the lesser evil in this big game. Let me explain. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu is Erdogan's main rival. He's not bright, neither talented. They just chose the one they fear the least. Kilicdaroglu is relatively elderly. He's over 70 years old. He was elected to parliament many times with his party but never won an election alone. I'm also told that previously he lost the election of the mayor of Istanbul. Kilicdaroglu heads the Kemalist party founded by Mustafa Kemal Pasha, nicknamed Ataturk. Ataturk was a man who was sincerely worried that the Ottoman Empire, and by the way it was an empire not a caliphate, the empire had failed to become as strong and powerful as the rest of the great powers of the time, that is Great Britain, France, German Empire, the Russian Empire. Turkey was weaker than each of them. But Kemal Pasha decided that this was because Turkey was not a nation state of the Turks, a Western style state, but an empire. After the defeat in the First World War, having seized power and winning the hardest war with the help of friendly nations, liberating the Turkish territory of Asia Minor, Kemal Pasha created a nation state. He would have never been able to do so without the help of countries like Russia, and the Turks should never forget this. I remember when I was in Istanbul's Taksim Square, there was a monument to Kemal Pasha and two Soviet figures, Mikhail Frunze and Klement Voroshilov. These are the people without whom, in Kemal's opinion, he would not have won the war. Kemal created a nation state, rightly or wrongly. He translated the Turks into the Latin alphabet instead of the Arabic script, made them write in Latin letters. He created a secular state, as secular as possible for a Muslim country. He renounced his claims to the territory of the Ottoman Empire, beyond the thresholds where the Turks lived. From claims to Syria, Palestine, Egypt, and even Saudi Arabia to Mecca and Medina, which is very important for Muslims. And he did that because he had to. There was no way on God's earth to continue growing the Ottoman Empire. It just wasn't sustainable. Kilicdaroglu is the earthly incarnation of Ataturk. However, ideologically, he is slightly more than Ataturk in terms of getting rid of religion altogether. Kilicdaroglu wants Turkey to become a European-style Western country and aspire to the European Union. That's wrong. I believe every country should have its own identity, and Islam is very much a part of the Turkish culture. Kilicdaroglu also wants Turkey to become a lot more active in NATO, and that's where we see the problem. Recep Tayyip Erdogan is also a Kemalist, but he's a sort of a different type of a Kemalist. He took what Ataturk was, mainly that Turkey should become a strong and independent state, and to act both in the international arena and within their borders only in their own interests, that is, in the interests of the Turkish people. That's what he does. That's why you see him in bed with Israel one day and the next day they are having a tiff. Erdogan plays all sides, not for the sake of religion, but for the sake of the Turkish people. He's the real Kemalist just in my opinion. And those who are against Erdogan are Kemalists by name. They are for other people's national interests. They are for the national interests of the United States. The political headquarters of Kemal Kılıçdaroglu told the American media that in the event of their victory, Turkey, first of all, will be guided by the interests of NATO. And that's not going to create any peaceful environment out there, especially between Russia and Ukraine and the rest of Europe. It will upset Russia and could even cause conflict between Russia and Turkey, which is something we don't need.
I had to recognize that Turkey is a member of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And the Quran very plainly and very clearly has prohibited Muslims from such a thing, membership in NATO. And Allah continues to say that if you join them, you no longer belong to us, you belong to them. وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُمْ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. And so using the Quran as the measuring rod, using the Quran as the criterion with which to judge and to distinguish truth from falsehood, we have come to the conclusion that so long as Turkey remains a member of NATO, Turkey don't belong to us, it belongs to them.
Sometimes I do wonder if Kilicdaroglu is elected and Turkey fights the American corner, maybe, just maybe, we might see Russian soldiers fighting in Constantinople, Istanbul, as the famous prophecy says. Turkish people, I'd like to think, are pragmatists. They don't want a bad situation with Russia. They want trade and get help if needed from Russia without engaging in a military confrontation. And I'm not supporting Erdogan because he's a Muslim, like many people do on social media. Erdogan can't be called a caliph of Muslims, neither even a Muslim leader. But we can't also call him a non-Muslim or a puppet of the West, because he's acting only in the interest of his country, Turkey. Erdogan supported the grain deal because it's beneficial to Turkey, and not because Russia wanted it. He did so as it was in the interest of his people. Erdogan refused to fully support sanctions against Russia. He doesn't share NATO's actions, and he will never send Turkish troops to Ukraine, and that's the reason why the shadow government around the world want to replace him with someone who will be 200% controlled and compliant to the US empire. Thanks for listening to the Independent Islamic Republic. Assalamu alaikum, Kusha Madid, Shalom Aleichem, adios, have a wonderful night.
Independent Islamic Republic.